and try to figure out where you are in the world. So I'll just open it up to someone to go ahead and ask Monica a question with a yes or no answer. So who could start?
My computer. No. All right. So I'm going to move away from my computer, and the two people here are going to come up too. So everybody should have their questions. Don't all jump at once.
I want to ask if you're from Latin America.
Yes.
Okay. Good. We have a good place to start. Okay, I'm going to ask, do you live on an island?
No.
Are you from Costa Rica?
No.
Okay. Somebody else? Are you on the continent of South America?
This is tricky. When I was in the U.S., I noticed that you classify America in North and South America, and I am in the middle.
Are you from Nicaragua?
No.
So hopefully somebody has the maps up and looking what our choices are.
Well, try asking questions about where, what things are in the countries.
Okay. Thanks. Are you from Guatemala?
Because those are easy questions. I mean, you've got them in the middle, and in the middle there are only about 5 countries.
Are you north of the equator?
No, yes, I'm from Guatemala.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hey, we know the country.
So now you want to try to see if you can get the city, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we need maps.
I don't know the city, just so you know.
Yeah.
Here we go. Are you in a town or a city? So, yes, town, no town.
Again?
I'm sorry. We have a difference. You know, like a town is smaller and a city is larger. So, are you in a town?
No.
Then, are you in a city?
Yes.
Are you in the capital city?
Yes.
The capital city of Guatemala?
Capital city of Guatemala. It's called Guatemala City.
Oh, yay, we did it.
Yay! Awesome! Thank you. Nice job, all. So now's our time to ask Monica about Guatemala. Well, first of all, has anybody been to Guatemala before? No, I haven't either, actually. I haven't either. So first, Pam, thank you so much for facilitating that for us. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we take you off the facilitator seat? And then we'll go into other questions.
Well, I would like to say that one of my very good friends is a missionary in Guatemala, and she and her husband have been trying to adopt a little Guatemalan girl for about 6 years. So they go down there and they're going through the process of trying to adopt this little girl. And while they've been down there, they've actually built a mission house for pregnant women and their children. It's in a village called Zacapa. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, yes. Zacapa, it's a very warm place. 40 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much that would be Fahrenheit, perhaps almost 100.
Wow, okay.
It's a dry place, and they make delicious cheese. Lasagna there is incredible.
Okay. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Pam. All right, so Monica's here with us from Guatemala, so here's a nice opportunity to ask her anything that may be of interest to you from the education, from schooling, college, issues, who she is, what she does. So I think everybody has hopefully one question that they could ask you just about you and your background, Monica. So, and your insights into Guatemala, which we don't have. So, would somebody like to go first?
You said that you went to school here in the States. What did you go to school for?
Yes, I was a Fulbright student in Virginia Tech. I have a major in education, and I came to study a master's in instructional design.
Is that how you know Beth?
Well, I met Beth at the ACT, the Association for Education, Communication, and Technology. Yes.
What do you do now in Guatemala with what you went to school for here?
Well, it was funny because, well, in Guatemala, we're used to working as we're studying. So when I was doing my education major, I was actually doing some instructional design work. So I already worked as an instructional designer. My master helped me a lot to, you know, bring science into what I was doing by practice. So I keep on doing instructional design. I do e-learning. Distance learning is what I like to do. I've been in e-learning for almost 10 years.
Who do you, in e-learning, who do you usually help design for in making your e-learning modules or tasks?
First, I teach higher ed. I am in charge of 2 courses. One is called Distance Learning, and there I help teachers as you. They are working in their own settings, and I help them to transfer their lessons into face-to-face and bring them into the realm of virtual learning. And of course, outside, because I am not a full-time teacher there, I only have this distance learning course and another one that's called Educational Technology. And I work eventually with different people, whether they are NGOs, sometimes doing small e-learning for them about conflict management was one, some others about their own procedures inside the organization to teach the rest of the organization members about how to deal with administrative things. So I do various tasks. Recently, I've been coaching in the learning and development departments of some corporations. They are trying to move from the traditional e-learning that is primarily facilitating content and testing into a more authentic learning, right? That is really what I like a lot. That's what I think my master's did a lot for me. It opened the door of cognitive apprenticeship, authentic learning, situated cognition. So I'm bringing all that into the e-learning that I was doing, not so much content-centered, because we are already in the university where I work and what I did my major, where we were already in the learner-centered approach. But I think that was the plus of the master's degree that I did. So that's what I'm doing. Right now I'm trying to coach learning and development departments transfer from the push, have you heard about this, push and pull? From the push paradigm of teaching into the pull paradigm of helping people learn.
So so when she's talking about the push and the pull, it's the pulling. People that want to, that your learners want to learn so much, they're pulling the instructor and saying, "I want more. Give me more." And I think a lot of you do that in this course. To me, you go, and I think, boy, if I'm not on my game, I'm in bad shape, because these students are gonna they're gonna say, "Beth, give me more." So that's great. So I want to point out to Danielle and Chris, the nice thing about Monica is that she does a little bit about what you're thinking about going into, but she does it in Guatemala, right? And for teachers, those of you who teach, we often think of ourselves as education specialists, those of us who are teachers, but we forget that it's really a specialty, not just teaching kids, but how much teachers really know about how learning happens. Mm-hmm. And we forget that's a valued skill. And actually, FYI, some people actually leave the K-12 world and actually market themselves on the corporate level, like Monica's doing. Mm-hmm. And work in there because companies need they need ongoing professional development. We all know that the world is moving very fast. Well, it's moving that fast for corporations too. So they need somebody to help them along and catching everybody up. So educators, teachers, we're needed all over on different levels. Mm-hmm. More questions. Anyone else have a question?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Danielle.
Are you doing the training for more big box companies, so to speak, or are they companies that are only based in Guatemala?
That's a nice question. Well, this company that I'm talking about is based in Guatemala, but it's international. I think, and that is going to be the case because it's the big learning and development departments, the ones that are interested in bringing people in to help them build their insights and transform their learning process. The other corporations, we've noticed it's more traditional. They're still in the old paradigm of training and marking their amount of training, if we can call it that way. It has to change. It's the same as in school, I think. We are moving into a society where learning is driven by the learner, but it's happening slowly.
Monica, when you're doing your trainings, about how many people are in the class for each type of training?
Oh yeah, that's something interesting because I don't do training as we call it. I like e-learning, so if I would facilitate a training, I would do it online. What I actually come and do to the companies is work one-to-one, or how can you say it, very, very close to the leader of the team and start with the cognitive apprenticeship approach, thinking out loud with her or him and trying to grasp the way they think, and from that start changing the perspective of how learning happens. I enjoy that a lot. That's why I call it coaching, because I actually come and work for a couple of hours with the team leaders. They're working on their projects. I pay attention to what they're doing, and I try to ask questions about why they're doing it that way and how could they do it differently so that the learning comes from the inside of them.
So everything is basically like individualized depending on what project they're working on?
Yes, that's how I've been doing it.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I have a current events question. Has Guatemala been affected by the Zika virus?
Oh yes, in Zacapa actually.
Change the subject.
The areas, the dry areas, where more heat and more poverty is.
Yeah.
Zika was an issue, but I think it's controlled now.
I'm going to follow up on that. What did they do to control it?
Good question. I certainly don't know how they handle this, but there's a team of people that, well, they're always paying attention to those areas that we know that it's poverty and it's difficult to handle some health issues. So it happened with cholera, I guess it was a long time ago. Then there was another one about flu. I don't remember. So they're kind of prepared for that. There are squads that come and take over.
Very nice. So how about any more questions? I see that Lonnie entered. Lonnie, we're meeting with Monica, and where's Monica from? Who remembers?
Guatemala.
Guatemala.
Guatemala City.
Guatemala City, Guatemala. There you go. So Lonnie teaches biology. So I don't know if you have any biology questions. And now, this is not Monica's area, but maybe she has some questions. Might be, you know.
Well, actually, I do, because I also teach, as I was telling you, I work with a private university, and we're preparing some online courses for STEM teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So biology comes into the science part.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very used to authentic learning and, you know, the cognitive apprenticeship that I was talking to you about. How does this come into reality with biology, for example? How can we have real learning situations in our classrooms for learners to really engage in how biology works, and they can start pulling from the teacher instead of the teacher pushing the content?
That's great, and that's something I always try. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, that's something I always try to do in my classroom. I always bring it back to a real life situation or bring it back to them. They love hearing about how their bodies work, so I try to give them as many examples as I can, or you know, say, well, this is why this happens. This is what's going on inside of you, or they're fascinated by that kind of stuff. And we're actually getting involved with the conservation community in our county. So we're going to do 2 field trips and have the students apply what we learned in the classroom to we're going to set up stations, and we're applying it to conservation and ecology. So they're using what we learned, but in a real life situation outside. So we have that coming up too. So I always try to make a connection between the real world and what we're doing in the classroom, so they don't think it's all, you know, just something out of a textbook. That it does really affect them. It affects the choices they're going to make in their lives. I'm sorry, my dog he knows I'm not paying attention to him, so he's like trying to jump
Be on the chat too.
Like,
Thank you. Yes, love it. Field trip.
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions for Monica?
What do you do for fun?
Hiking and stuff the same. I love to go to the forest and do long walks, yes.
What is hiking like in Guatemala, where you are? Because in the Poconos here, you know, we have a lot of trails, but what's it like there? What's the temperature and the weather?
Let's see. Today we're 26 Celsius. Again, I don't know, Fahrenheit.
Anybody do a quick calculation?
You can.
I got it.
How much is it?
William's got it covered.
40 degrees Celsius was 104 before.
104, yeah. Okay.
What did you say, 26?
26 is pretty warm, but nice.
It's like 80 degrees. I'm
80?
jealous.
Yeah, it's 78.8.
70 or 80, yeah. Yeah, that's Guatemala City's temperature, mainly. So if you go to the forest, it can get a little bit lower because of the trees, but it's humid, so you won't feel that cold. We have several ecological parks to do a lot of hiking, and also if you're passionate about the extreme sports, there's how you call that when you go from one tree to the other one.
Zip
Zip
line.
line.
Yes.
The dog wants a zip line.
Yes.
Zip line, yeah, those things. There's plenty of parks where you can do that. My sons are Boy Scouts, so as a family, we always try to go camping with the Boy Scouts group.
Cool. What kind of wildlife do you see there when you go hiking?
Birds, mainly birds. If you're lucky, you can see some of the mammals that get into that bury themselves, that dig holes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the names in Spanish, the biologists. Do you know names in English? Because I can tell in Spanish you call them comadrejas.
So like a wolf or something?
No, they're like rodents, but
Yeah.
bigger.
Oh,
You said they're big?
rodents?
Big rodents.
Oh.
Armadillos too. It's
Are
not a
they,
rodent,
what is
it's
it,
not a
like
rodent.
mongoose or like weasels?
Whistles could be. Huh. My son's here. So,
You can say hello. And how
Tell,
old?
say hello. It's 12. Say hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Do we look alike?
Yes.
Yes.
He was 7 when I came to the U.S., so I learned English in school.
Oh, so hablas inglés?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you went to school here when you came to the U.S.?
Yes, I started second grade and almost finished third grade.
Nice.
Would you like to ask Monica? We may ask him. What is your name? I'm sorry.
Alonso.
Alonso. Nice to meet you, Alonso. I'm
And
Beth, and this is all these wonderful students here. We're talking to your mom, and we're trying to learn from her. It's very good. So, Alonso, may we ask him some questions? Monica, are you okay? Would anybody like to ask Alonso any question? He's in Guatemala now, but he did go to school in the U.S. as well. So, does anybody have any curiosities?
What kind of sports you like, Alonzo?
baseball and soccer.
My son plays both of those. He's 8.
Cool.
Was it hard to learn English?
Not really. Like for the first 3 months or so, I was really having a hard time. Then from there on, I knew English and I could answer questions that my teacher asked.
How did you feel emotionally when it was difficult to communicate?
Sort of frustrated.
Alonso, we have many teachers here, so they're interested in this process because they're worried about our students. So it's nice to hear from someone else. I have a question. What was your impression of school in the United States?
I don't really know because I haven't been to I've always been homeschooled.
Oh, okay.
It was really hard for me to judge.
Yeah. But that's probably what's nice for you, because you were in the U.S., what, 1 or 2 years?
1.5 years.
Yeah, okay. Did you get to meet children your age then?
Well, we homeschool in Guatemala, but he went to school over there.
Oh.
So that's why he can't compare how was the difference or what was the difference between the school here and the school there, because he had never been to a school before.
I So what did you think of U.S. school then? Maybe that's what I should ask.
Entertaining.
We try.
Entertaining. That's funny. That's a good year. That's good. That it should be. It's making us laugh. It's a good laugh.
Yes. Where were you? What state were you in?
Virginia. Blacksburg.
All the Hokies.
Yes, go Hokies.
I just met Frank Beamer the other day, the head football coach from Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Did you ever get to go to the Bay Bridge Tunnel at the Chesapeake?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Chesapeake Bay, that's a little bit far from Blacksburg.
Gotcha.
Cool.
But we got to go to the mountains. We spent the longest day of the year at the top of one of the mountains.
Is that
Mountain Ridge?
the Skyline Mountains?
The Appalachian
The
Mountains?
Appalachian, yeah.
There's a road that runs through the top of the Appalachian. They call it Skyline or Skyview. There's a lot of camping areas and stuff there.
No, we were not there.
Okay.
It was a hike as well.
The Appalachian Mountains are here in Pennsylvania too, where we are.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So yeah, we're in Pennsylvania, and I think everyone here, even though we're at a distance, everyone here, other than you, Monica and Alonso, we're all in Pennsylvania, and we're in Northeast Pennsylvania. And if you were in Virginia, kind of down here, we're over a little bit more towards the east, but the Appalachian Mountains, they run over here and then come up. And so all of us can probably get to the Appalachian Mountains for a nice hike on this Saturday afternoon, because I think the weather's supposed to be nice, and it'll probably take us 15 minutes to get there, not very long. So it's one of the things to enjoy here in the
Along the Appalachian.
What's that, Bill?
We're about 5 hours from Blacksburg.
Okay, yes.
North.
5 hours?
Yep, I used to live in the eastern shore of Virginia, over by Chincoteague Island.
Nice.
Very nice.
What made you choose Virginia to live?
Oh, yes. I wanted my family, because we traveled, the 4 of us, to live there for a year and a half. So we were looking for something that was different from our real environment or natural environment. We wanted to experiment snow, but we also wanted mountains, which is what we are used to. We live in a valley, so we're surrounded by mountains, and that's why I was telling you about going camping and exploring.
That's neat. I never thought of Guatemala as surrounded by mountains. I don't know if you did, but yeah, there is. But in my brain, yes, it's there. Julie's showing me the map, like, okay, instructor, yeah. No, but I just didn't think of it. Yeah, excellent. Does anybody have any more questions or thoughts for Monica or Alonso?
I have one question for Monica.
Yes?
I'm sorry, hold on one second.
Okay, I can ask a question. What are your favorite local foods? Because I'm like really, really hungry, and I just want to hear your guys' food.
Okay. Also, you have a favorite one?
Enchiladas.
Enchilada is corn fried tortilla with salad on top that is made out of beet and some meat, how do you say, chopped meat? Ground meat? Ground meat. Ground meat. Okay, with green beans and carrots.
Sounds good.
Also, red stuffed peppers. Have you heard about them?
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite one. It's the same ground meat, but it's not the meat that you use for the meatballs. It's meat that you cook and then you chop very finely with carrots and green beans. And you use this to stuff the bell peppers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you cover the bell pepper with egg that is beaten. That's very fluffy, right? When you separate the egg white and egg yolk, and then you beat the whites to make it fluffy. I don't know how you call it.
Like
Then
a
you add
meringue?
the egg
Like
yolk.
a meringue? Is that what you're talking about?
Like a meringue, but it's not sweet. It's just the egg. You add the egg yolk, you mix it, and then you dip the bell pepper inside and fry those. Those are my favorite. But what's very traditional here is the meat with different sauces. And you can have a green sauce made out of tomatoes that are green, small green tomatoes. And some other that are darker because we use some seeds inside the sauces.
That's neat. Chris, are you? Did that get your stomach going a little bit more?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really, really hungry.
Yeah.
Is the food spicy?
A little bit, but not that much. It's spicy because of the ingredients, but we don't put chili in.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. I've never had a pepper dipped in egg and fried, but okay, somebody else. That sounds good.
Well,
I have an education question.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Danielle. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Did you want to go first?
Oh, go ahead.
All right. I was gonna ask, after I would say like post-bachelor's degrees, what are or how are students being prepared in Guatemala after they graduate high school into furthering their education? Like, is it common for them to leave Guatemala and then come back?
Okay, that's a very good question because here in Guatemala, we were used to having a 5-year program after high school, which is, I think, one more year after the BA or the BS that we would normally do in the US. So we call that licenciatura or ingeniería in some other cases. So when students graduate after this 5-year program out of a licenciatura or an ingeniería, they can work. Some of us, as I was telling you, would already be working and get our degrees as we're working. But that helps our culture a lot because, you know, households need income earlier. I don't think it's the majority that they can afford the studies of their children in the higher level. If you have the interest of studying, you would normally work and study. It's a very reduced group of students, privates, universities, most is most the case, where students are full-time. So then, of course, after graduating, there's a lot of offer of master's degrees in Guatemala, but also students are eager to go out and explore and find out what is happening outside and learn from that experience to bring to the country. So that's also common with scholarships.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have another question? Was that Pam that had a question?
Well, I just real quick wanted to ask you about your government because I get a lot of information again from my friends who are the missionaries that you recently had an election and you have a big change in your government now, and I was just wondering how has that impacted your country and your life?
Yes, little by little our country needs to get organized. Unfortunately, we had 30 years of war, if you can call it that way. It stopped when we signed peace treaties in 1996. From 1985, start counting our democratic era. So until now, we have 30 years of democratic era where we have been voting and electing our authorities. But I think it's still too young. People don't know how to choose, and those who want to be elected are not the best prepared. So it's been a learning process. I see everything as a
The same problem.
learning process. We're getting organized. We're hoping that this new government can help us get organized.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we hope too. Although I think we're probably a little more cynical. I like your hope. That's nice. That's very nice. Well, we don't want to keep you any longer. We don't want to outstay our welcome, as they say. But I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, Monica and Alonso. That was so great of you to drop in and be willing to answer some questions, so thank you. And I know everybody here really found it valuable, and I learned so many new things. Any last words from anyone else?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Monica and Alonso.
Thank you, thank you.
This inspires us to do more with our own students. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So go ahead and you may sign off, Monica. We are going to stay here and just see if anybody has any questions, okay, about class.
Okay, good. So it was very nice to meet you, and I'm there if you need anything. Just send me an email. Beth has my address.
Well, thank you. I actually have some students here that might want to probe your brain a little bit more, I think. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Goodbye. And you're welcome. You're always welcome to Guatemala.
Awesome. Hasta luego.
Goodbye.
He's cute.